Perfect. Okay. So I will just ask everyone to stay on mute until you have a question. You can unmute yourself. So it looks like Lorraine, one of yours is unmuted. Perfect. Okay. We are all set. So welcome everyone to today's webinar. It's going to be on active adult living. So this is, I like the title, A New Wave of Active Adult Living. We are, oops. So we're going to talk about this new trend happening. It's new here to Ottawa. It's been happening for many years of active adult living. We're going to look at what it's like to live in a 55 plus community. I'll talk about the difference between 55 plus communities and retirement homes. That's kind of the most common question I get. And then we'll look at just kind of briefly what the options are here in Eastern Ontario. Now I'm going to assume most of us are in the Ottawa region. If you do have questions about outside of Ottawa, I can help direct you. I'm more of an expert of the Ottawa area. So just a little bit, if you don't know who Solva Senior Living is, we're a local company in Ottawa. We help people find senior living options and also help navigate elder care. So we do a lot of education around how the system works, what different options there are. We can help with the actual navigation through referrals. And then we also help with strategizing, so planning for today, tomorrow, and the future. And we have lots of different tools and resources to help make things easier. We have, among our team, combined 50 years experience in retirement homes. I myself have worked in a few retirement homes here in Ottawa and know the ins and outs pretty well. And yeah, we're just a resource here to help make that process easier and less time spent, and also tap into our years of experience. So if you have more questions about who Solva is, what we do, we can talk about that at the end, or you can send me an email separately. And we're going to jump now into what is active adult living. So you're going to see me a few different names. You've probably heard of it being called 55 plus, active adult, senior community. There's no kind of standardized name, but they all kind of mean the same thing. We're talking about independent communities that are geared towards active seniors. They usually are considering anyone who's about 55 plus in that lifestyle, retired, kids are out of the house, that kind of lifestyle. So it's nothing new at all. In the US, we started seeing these kind of communities pop up in the 50s, and the very first one was actually in Arizona. But you tend to see them in those warmer states, Florida, Texas. If you've ever had yourself experience them, there's quite large communities down south, and many Canadians, we call them snowbirds, will go down south to experience that lifestyle. So they'll go in the winter months. Now, in the 80s, we kind of started to see more of these natural occurring 55 plus communities. So you may hear of some like apartment buildings that some people will say, oh, it's a seniors building, but really it's an apartment building, but the majority of the tenants are old or in 55 plus kind of category. And then in the 90s, we started to see more of these 55 plus kind of age restricted neighborhoods pop up around Ottawa. So if anyone's familiar, they're more on the outskirts. There's one in Stittsville. There's one in, I want to say, Greeley kind of area at the end of Albion Road, Riverside South. And then in 2018, we saw in Ottawa our very first kind of active adult apartments that were age-restricted apartments that had these additional features, kind of more like what you would see down south. So instead of having to go travel to the US to experience this lifestyle, now we're seeing a lot more here in Ottawa. Of course, we don't get the super nice weather all year round, but we can still enjoy that lifestyle. So living at a 55 plus community, what is it? What is it all about? What do they offer? So we'll go into kind of all of that. So essentially they're age restricted communities. And what I hear often is people ask me, well, is there a law? Can you restrict it? Really? No, you can't legally restrict someone based on their age, but usually the features and how the lifestyle is set up, it's more attractive for people who are 55 plus. Why would someone want one of these communities? There's quite a few reasons. A lot of the times people want to be living around people who are in the same part of their life. They're looking to do the same things, not wanting kids around, occasionally for visits, right? But not wanting the screaming kids or the things that come along with younger tenants. It's also a lock and leave lifestyle for most of the places. And what that means is it's an apartment you're renting, you want to go down south or you want to go on a trip. It's not the same with ownership of a house where you have to have someone come check in. You can just lock your door and go. A lot lower maintenance at these places compared to owning a home. They often offer that carefree lifestyle. And also it's kind of that first, it's not retirement living, but it's that chance to have more of a communal living. So having people around, new friendships, new kind of experiences. And then the other big thing for a lot of people that they like about it is there's that sense of security, just from the fact that there are staff around in a lot of these places, someone who you can check in with, also just even security within the actual building. So who typically lives at these communities? Really, as I said, anyone could live at them. You'll often see people who are downsizing, someone who's moving from the family homestead, looking for that less maintenance, so a smaller space. A lot of retirees will find these communities quite attractive for many reasons, just the social aspect, having people around who also want to live the same kind of lifestyle, whether they want to go out golfing during the day, things like that. And you'll see a big mix of singles and couples. There's lots of different places, lots of people who are different places in their life. Oops. So what kind of amenities are usually included? Now, typically before, like the ones built in the 90s, those neighborhoods, they offer that 55 plus living with a clubhouse, things like that. As we see more of the trend, more of the popularity building, we're starting to see more of these complexes reflecting what the ones in the southern states look like. So you're starting to see buildings with lots of amenities. So if you think about winter time here in Ottawa, at some of these places, you never have to even leave the complex because they offer everything within it. You'll see things like restaurants in them, cafes, bars, and they all kind of set them up a little bit differently. Some of them, the restaurants are open to the public. Some it's just for the tenants. Some include meals at restaurants and cafes. Others, that's an extra cost. They also will have things like fitness studios. So unlike your apartment buildings where you'll see just like a bunch of fitness equipment, a lot of these places will have fitness staff on site. So fitness classes, so you can take part in a fitness class, or even if you just want a personal trainer, someone to take you through exercises, there's those options as well. So when I say you don't have to go out in the winter, some of these places you really don't. Pools, that's kind of hit or miss. And some of them pools are indoors, some pools are outdoors. So if you are really a pool person, that one is one that is a little variable. Salon, some of these places, they'll have full-on salons. You can get your hair done. And then also some medical professionals. And usually how the medical professionals work is they'll rent out space to these medical professionals. So you'll see maybe a physiotherapist renting out space, a massage therapist, chiropractor, just different ones like that. Now, one thing, and we'll get into this more when we compare it to retirement homes, is you won't see medical professionals on staff. So you're not seeing a nurse that would be on staff being able to provide continuous nursing support. And that has to do with licensing and kind of how that whole system works. But you will see on-site staff, things like a general manager. And where this becomes helpful compared to just a regular apartment building is that general manager is not just like a property maintenance person. So like a traditional apartments, if you have issues, you call the maintenance person and they'll come and they'll fix something. Your general manager is a lot more than that. They're managing the building. They're answering your questions about your rent, lease, any of the things you're dealing with. You put in requests for maintenance. So kind of just a little bit above and beyond that regular maintenance person. A lot of these places have concierge. So if you're big on deliveries, right, that concierge can take deliveries for you. That concierge can help you with questions you have, help you book things like a taxi, stuff like that, kind of your traditional concierge role. You'll see housekeeping. So they're going around to kind of the common spaces and making sure they're all clean. And then your maintenance. And of course, the maintenance would be maintenance of the apartment and maintenance of the building in general. Does anyone have any questions about what we've talked about so far? All pretty straightforward. And I will ask, maybe I'll do a poll if I can, if anyone's even lives in a 55 plus community or toured one. That would be interesting to know if any of you guys have been in any of them before. So there's a few different types of communities that you'll see. So you'll see kind of the freehold condo neighborhoods. There's also townhome and kind of townhome bungalow rentals. There's more of your traditional apartments, but more luxury. And these luxury ones I would consider more of the natural occurring 55 plus communities. And then you have your 55 plus apartment complexes. So in terms of rates, so this is kind of just my generalized based on what I've seen, places that we know of, what their rates are like. So usually in like the freehold condo neighborhoods, you'll see maybe anywhere from 1 to 3 bedroom homes. And of course, when we say freehold or condo neighborhoods, a lot of times they're for purchase. These neighborhoods, I mean, everyone knows the housing market right now in Ottawa is crazy. I know in some of these neighborhoods, houses are going for 50, 80,000. So I'm not a real estate person, so I'm not a huge expert in kind of what these places are going for, but the trend is that they are kind of higher value and they go pretty quick compared to just like a regular neighborhood. You'll see in these neighborhoods, so kind of what's included, they usually will have kind of like a community center, clubhouse, somewhere where everyone in the neighborhood can meet up. Usually use of that space is included, so you can use it for free, so the neighborhood can meet up together, or if you want to host like an event yourself. They also usually kind of include maybe some yard or community landscaping. I'll say snow removal as well. Sometimes in Ottawa, they'll have like a private street, and then the residents of that street have to pay for the city to come and remove the snow. So some kind of extra charges you'll see if you're living in one of these. Of course, you're owning a house, so you'll see your taxes, your utilities. When I say media, that was just my generalized like internet, phone, cable. And then additionally, you'll either have condo fees or community fees added on. But then of course, that's an ownership. So you have that asset. Townhome bungalows, rentals, I forgot the L is just missing there. Townhomes and bungalows, you'll see kind of a range as well in sizing, anywhere from 1 to 3 bedrooms. And they really kind of range in pricing, I find, depending on what area of town it's in. These are more kind of like on the outskirts of Ottawa. You'll see as low as $1,800 a month, and then it can go anywhere up to like $5,000 a month. What you'll usually see included in that price, again, there'll be like a clubhouse, community center, somewhere for everyone to gather. Usually your landscaping and snow removal are included, and then taxes are included, right? Because you're not owning, you're renting. And then usually you'll have utilities and media extra. That's kind of more, so the kind of difference between those townhome bungalow rentals and the freehold condos is essentially just the difference between rental and ownership. Now, people, I find ownership, some people want to stay at homeowner as they get older. Other people are ready to liquidate that asset and have more, get the money out of the house. Really, in today's housing market, sometimes selling the house and then using that money towards a rental works better. That kind of stuff, 100% talk to a financial advisor about. Not my expertise, I'll be totally honest. I'm not going to provide any advice which one works better for you. I would say talk to a financial person about that. The next is those luxury apartments. So kind of those naturally occurring 55 plus communities. You'll usually see anywhere from a studio to a 3-bedroom. You tend to actually see quite large units. I've seen anywhere up to like 1,100 square feet, almost 2,000 square feet, which in an apartment is quite large. And they range as well from about 1,900 all the way up to 4,000, could be more. Usually they include things like utilities, taxes, and the use of amenities. Usually parking and your media is extra. And then the 55 plus complex apartments, you'll see anywhere from a studio to a 2-bedrooms. Usually those 2 bedrooms are quite a bit smaller. You're looking at maybe more like 1,200 square feet are like the bigger sizes, and those studios are more around the 700 square feet, 600 square feet. It kind of depends on the place. And they usually have a bit of a higher starting rate because it does usually include things like your meals, the fitness studio, some of those additional things. You also will sometimes see an additional person charge. So say if there's 2 people living in the unit, they might charge for the second person. So you'll sometimes see utilities included, taxes, meals, and amenities, parking and media are usually extra. Anyone have questions about those? I'm giving kind of like rough numbers. Of course, like if you, when we do searches, when we help clients find specific things that are related to their needs, we go into more details and we can actually find the exact pricing for what you're looking for. Solva doesn't help. We can't help with purchasing a house. We can help just with that rental side as well. I'll just say that. We're not real estate agents. Yeah, so I'll move on. No questions from anyone. You guys are all saving it for the end, right? So now we'll go into what the difference between an active adult living versus retirement home, because I find this is the biggest question people ask me. And there is quite a bit of like gray area between the two, and they do overlap. I tried to get a Venn diagram, but the software didn't have one, but you guys can picture my Venn diagram here. So on the edges, I have kind of what the difference is between the two, and in the middle, I have what's the same. So the biggest thing I kind of go at with the active adult community is if you have an apartment, usually, or your own space. So you have a full kitchen. You can completely be independent in that unit. Looks a lot like a traditional apartment, where at a retirement home, almost all retirement homes, you don't have a full kitchen. You may have a kitchenette where you have a fridge and a microwave and a sink, but you're not cooking your meals in your unit. So that's the other big thing is in some active adult living communities, you have meals included. So you can go down to a cafe, you can go down to a restaurant, and it's just that you have a menu, you're ordering items off of it. It's different selection. Where at a retirement home, you're going for 3 meals a day, and you're eating, you usually have 1 or 2 options, and then maybe an a la carte menu. So a lot more structured in retirement homes when it comes to eating and food and meals, and then a lot more flexibility at these adult lifestyle communities. And then the other big thing is that retirement homes, if anyone's ever looked into it, they're regulated by the RHRA. So it's the retirement home, there's the Retirement Home Act, and the RHRA puts make sure the act's being followed, where active adult communities are not regulated. And you know the comment I said earlier about the nursing staff? That's a big thing that comes into play. So at retirement homes, they have nursing staff. They're regulated. They have to meet certain standards. They're checked in on. They have inspections. They have to report to someone. And so the nursing staff side goes along with all that. Where at active adult communities, of course, they report to the RTA, the Residential Tenancy Act. They have to follow that. But other than that, they don't have to follow anything. So they actually, if they're putting a nurse on staff, that's them hiring a nurse. And essentially, it doesn't, if they want to put that nurse on staff, then they have to become a retirement home. So they just don't do that. And that's kind of the big difference as well, is just that regulation around the two. And then a lot of times people will move to a retirement home versus an active adult living community for that fact is that a retirement home has nursing staff, where an active adult community is a lot more independent, and it's people who aren't needing necessarily a nursing staff. Or the other thing at an active adult community is you can bring your own nursing staff. So it would be the same as if you were getting nursing care at home, whether it's through what formerly was the LHIN. You can still receive that nursing staff. You're hiring them and they are your own staff. You can have them come in. And of course, you can have that care and it still be very discreet, right? They just come in and they're just a visitor. So a lot of people who do live in these active adult communities have care, maybe just help with a shower, things like that, but not that same level of care that you would see in that retirement home. Both of them offer carefree living. They both offer maintenance-free living. They both have monthly rent, and they might have additional fees as well. They're usually both accessible. So most active adult living are more accessible in terms of like, there's like specific standards for an apartment to be accessible, right? It has to have certain clearance in the bathroom, certain width for the doors. So you'll see oftentimes active adult communities are more accessible. So they have step-in showers, things that make aging in place a lot easier. And then they're both communal living. So that active adult living can be that kind of first step into communal living, where you have support around, you have people around. Doesn't necessarily mean you have to go and be social all the time. It's just knowing that there's people around to check in on you. There's just people around that if you are feeling social, you can go and grab a coffee with someone. Meals are a big thing, right, for us to be social, especially for people who are single and they're maybe, and then I think COVID kind of brought that to the forefront for a lot of people, was just that the idea, if you're living alone and we go into lockdown, you're by yourself. So that communal living provides that ability to be social. And that just kind of reminded me of the COVID thing. So another big difference is retirement homes are regulated by public health. So if there is a COVID case at a retirement home, the retirement home goes into outbreak. And then there's rules around what needs to be locked down, kind of how that works, the visitors. So it's a lot more heavily regulated, where active adult communities aren't regulated the same way. So say, for example, when things go into, if there's a COVID case at an active living building, nothing changes. That person, of course, has to follow the public health rules in regards to that, but there's no like shutdown of amenities or anything like that, unless, of course, the government shuts down the stuff. So that's kind of another big difference is with it not being regulated, is that you still, like, things didn't shut down at these active adult communities. Okay, I just threw a lot out there. Does anyone have any questions about that? Anything I didn't mention? I don't know if that, sorry, there's a little notification if someone said something in the chat box. Sorry, just bear with me. I'm just trying to open the chat box. I just realized I didn't have it open. Okay, leases. I'm sorry. I don't know if you just asked the question, but there's a question. What about long-term leases? So at most, so the law in Ontario, if anyone's ever rented before, is that when you rent, you sign a 1-year lease. And then as soon as your 1 year is up, your lease goes month to month. So that's kind of the standard that the RTA has set out. And so at active adult communities, you're following that RTA. So they're going to give you a 1-year lease, and then it goes month to month after the first year. However, you can go into an agreement with a landlord that you want to have a longer term lease. And some of these places will offer a longer term lease. Now, longer term lease could be 2, 3, 10-year lease. And usually people will enter into these leases because they will set a fixed amount that the yearly increase will be. And that's kind of the biggest benefit. I just got another question. I'm actually going to answer it. So is what is available in Ottawa for luxury rental apartments? And I actually have another slide that we'll get to that. So you guys are jumping the gun. But just on the long-term leases, a lot of the times at the active adult living, they don't necessarily like to go into long-term leases. For kind of one reason is just in case anything happens to you and you have to move. So if health declines, if life changes, if anything happens, you don't want to be stuck in that lease, right? Although there is a clause that if you have a medical note, you can get out of any lease with 30 days notice. It's not a huge thing, but if you are looking for a longer term lease, that's something you kind of discuss when you're looking at the place. It's kind of just at the discretion of the landlord, whether they want to do it or not. Does anyone have any other questions about retirement home versus active adult living? And don't worry, guys, I'll answer your other question in a few slides. Actually, one slide. You jump the gun by one slide. So here, kind of, this is not an extensive list. It's just kind of a general list of some options in Ottawa and kind of surrounding area. So in terms of luxury apartments, there's more and more popping up. Ottawa is starting to be a lot more of, it's an area where a lot more money, I guess you could say, or people looking for that luxury lifestyle. Not as sleepy as they used to say, right? They used to call us a sleepy town. I think we're making our way on the map. But we have a few options. These are just a couple options coming up. These are, I'm kind of putting the newer options on here. So there's an apartment complex coming up in Almont. It's opening at the end of this year, Riverfront Apartments, and it's just that. It's a luxury apartment building on the river, the Mississippi River in Almont. And so that apartment building, just because the town, Almont, tends to be a lot more retirees. So that's more of a naturally occurring 55 plus luxury rental. There's a newer building opening in the fall this year in Barrhaven called Haven Towers. Now they're quite a large complex with a lot of amenities. And again, they're kind of more of a naturally occurring 55 plus community. Already open, which I don't have on my list here, are the Lapine buildings. So there's a company here in Ottawa called Lapine. They have quite a few apartment buildings around Ottawa, as well as on the outskirts. They have Carleton Place, Vanier, Barrhaven, quite a few different buildings. And again, naturally occurring 55 plus. And then there's another, the Soho company. They have a few. There's a new one, Soho Italia, that's actually opening right in Little Italy, like right at the corner. It's not that Claridge one. It's just across the street from that new Claridge one that is at Carling and Preston, if anyone's familiar with that area. There's also, so these 55 plus complexes are more of those ones that have those amenities. They have restaurants, they have more of that lifestyle if you are looking. So when you say luxury apartments, you have your apartment, there's some amenities, but you don't kind of have those other features like the restaurant, the on-site staff as much. But these ones, so Astoria, that one's a new one coming up in Ottawa. It's going to be open at the end of this year. It's in close to the farm. So it's Maryville Road. When it goes through the farm, it's just on that other side. I'm blanking on the name of that community right now. Yeah, so it's kind of like it's west end of Ottawa, but not super west. You also have the Miller Apartments. Now that's in Manotick, right on Bridge Street. And so those are a low-rise, a 55 plus complex. Not a ton of amenities in that building, but they do offer a nice fine dining restaurant. And yes, Lorraine, it's Central Park. Thank you. So sorry, Astoria is going to be opening in Central Park. The other one is in Barrhaven. It's literally right across the street from Haven Towers, is the Bristol. And that is a kind of unique one as well. It is attached directly to a retirement home. So you have the option of that 55 plus living, you have your apartment, and then you can go through a skywalk right over to the retirement home and use all of their amenities. They also have a retirement home, not a restaurant, sorry, a dining room is what we would call in a retirement home. But people from the Bristol, if you don't feel like making dinner, you can go over to the retirement home and have dinner. So quite a unique concept as well. When we talk about looking for a place to kind of age in place, they offer that you don't have to, you can get out of your lease pretty easily and move over to the retirement home pretty easily. There's Mill Valley Living, which is a new one coming out in Almonte as well. It's going to be a apartment complex. So it's lower rise, only 4 stories. It has all the amenities. And then there's townhomes all around. And those living in the townhomes can also access all the amenities within the apartment building. And the other one, this is the kind of groundbreaking first of its kind in Ottawa, was the Wellings of Stittsville, which opened in 2018. And the Wellings of Stittsville offers a restaurant within it. And they have the general manager, they have a fitness center, kind of all those amenities. And so those are the 55 plus complexes. East End, so there's a question, I note there's no listings in the East End. There is some hoping to come soon. There's nothing like confirmed in the East End or kind of announced yet in the East End. Winchester, I don't know how much you want to say that's East End, it's more south of Ottawa. But East End really needs, there's a lot of retirement homes in the East End. There's kind of a few retirement homes that are more independent in the East End. So offering more of, there's a few that have like a kitchen. You have a kitchen in your apartment. In your apartment at the retirement home, but there's none of these complexes yet in the East End. Hopefully soon. Because I find in Ottawa, especially, living in the East End versus living in the West End, it's a huge difference in the type of people and even just in the language people speak. I'll let you guys know though when I hear about one that's coming in the East End for sure. In terms of freehold neighborhoods, so these are more of the for purchase neighborhoods, and we have Amberwood in Stittsville. That's right near the golf course. So those are homes that people own, and it's for 55 plus. There's the villas of the Riverside South. So that's just across from Barhaven and Riverside South. And then there's the Albions, which is kind of Greeley at the end of Albion. That's also on a golf course. And then some townhomes and bungalow rentals, Wellings of Winchester. So same owners of Wellings of Stittsville. They are building a neighborhood out in Winchester with townhomes. And then you have Orchard View in Almonte, which is another really unique concept. It is there's townhomes across the street from a retirement home. So those living in the townhomes are actually allowed to go to the retirement home for meals. They're not allowed to go to get care, of course, because of licensing, but there is the option to go for a meal and kind of get to know and be social and do some of the activities within the home. And it's interesting also because if you look at Almonte, not a very big city, but 3 of these are in it. And they're honestly all within a couple blocks of each other. Does anyone have any other questions about any of these, or maybe visited any of these and want to share your experience of what you saw when you toured? Has anyone ever, maybe if you want to do you want to just do a quick poll? Hands up if you live in a 55 plus community right now. No one. Okay, so we're all just learning about it. Hands up if you've ever toured one or know someone living at one. Okay, so we're all very new. Now, was there anything, oh, we have a thumbs up. So I'm guessing you guys have maybe toured or know someone who lived there. Now that we've gone through all of this, was there anything that you were hoping I would talk about that I didn't mention yet? Questions? Okay, I think we asked all our questions while we were going through. That's all I had for today. If anyone does have any questions, concerns, if anyone wants to go more in depth, if this kind of got some interest going and you think maybe you want to look into them, feel free to give Solva a call. So again, Solva's completely impartial. So what we do is we get the information for you. We can help set up tours, help go through everything, and kind of help walk you through the process and help you make the decision. We have no affiliation with any of these places, simply just trying to share the information. Which is kind of nice, because if you've ever gone to tour any of these places or toured retirement homes, you know, as soon as you give them your phone number, they're calling you a million times and they keep asking you and checking in, where we get all that and we just filter what information you need to you. So our email is info, I-N-F-O, at solvaseniorliving.ca. I can even type it in the chat. That's probably the easiest. Info. And then we also have a phone number. It's 613-421-6073. So you can give us a call anytime, even if you want to just have, I know in webinars and kind of a group setting, sometimes we don't want to ask all of our questions and we might have some more personal questions. If you want to give us a call and ask any questions, kind of get just know a little bit more about anything, just feel free to give us a call. We're more than happy to chat and go through things. And one other thing, I'm actually sitting in it right now. So we actually just opened a resource center here. We are located, I'm sitting right now in Bell's Corners, so on Moody Drive. And our resource center is now a place where we can sit down, have a coffee, chat, and I actually have a shelf full of brochures from a bunch of different places. So we can sit down, talk through the different options. It's just kind of nicer than over the phone to have a sit down and chat about stuff. So there's that as well. You can always just give us a call and book an appointment or visit our website. I want to thank everyone for taking their time out of their day. I hope you all have a chance to go outside and enjoy the weather. And again, we're always here to answer questions, help you out if you need it. It was nice seeing everyone. Have a good rest of your day.
Will you be sending out the PowerPoint?
Yeah, for sure. Did you registered for the webinar today?
Yes, I did.
Okay, perfect. So I'll have your email. So I'll email it out to all participants. I'll email out that as well as the recording.
Awesome. Thank you so much. That was very helpful.
No problem. You have a good rest of your day.
You too. Bye-bye.
Thanks.